G'day guys, welcome back to Dune Awakening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hoping you're liking my new little lounge area, which we designed in the previous episode. And along with that, we also played around with the death still to produce quite a bit more water. So I still have the death still set up. I probably might just keep that, because if we do end up fighting things out there, well, fighting obviously people, then we should be able to collect a corpse or two to throw into the death still. And yeah, that's maybe just a little nice injection of water production, which is always nice. In today's episode, I'm going to want to try my darndest to do a bit of a cleanup job of all of the missions that we still have. I'm not entirely sure if we'll be able to go through all of them, but I'm going to try my best to do so. And only then we shall, continue with the decorating of this space. So the first thing that we need to do is to look at crafting a whole bunch of stuff, actually. So I'm going to try and do maybe a few things in one. But first things first, let's focus on weapons. So weapons-wise, we do need just a whole bunch of standard stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just grab a standard sword, and I need to just quickly review all of this stuff. So standard sword, we need a standard GRDA, so let's craft one. Where would that be? Here, maybe? No, this is a Karpov. GRDA, here we go. Standard GRDA 44. Let's craft that. And then, what was the last one that we needed? Disruptor, M11. And I think we also need the Kirab heavy armor set, right? So let's just take another look there. Yeah, heavy armor. Let's just make a set. I'm not entirely sure if you wear just one part of it, whether or not you'd be able to get the job done, but why is it not here? Oh, maybe... Yeah, here we go. So, heavy jerkin. Let's grab one of those, and I'm just gonna make the one item before making all of it, just to see if we can get away with completing the quest by only wearing one part of the armor. Alright, so let's just pop that on and see if it does the job. Alright, I think we might need all of it. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have the jerkin, we just need the boots, pants, gauntlets, head wrap. A bit of a waste of all of our materials, to be honest, but at least it's not like really high tier materials that we're using. So once this is all done, we should be able to move on to actually completing some of the some of the actual requirements. I think simply equipping the heavy armor set should be enough to complete that one part though, so we should be good. While we're waiting though, I'll just quickly switch all of our gear. So the GRDA, I think this is a shotgun, right? Or sorry, it's a scattergun. It needs light darts, which means that I'm gonna need to make some light darts. So, all good. We can definitely get that organized. There we go. So that's everything. Let's just pop everything on. Alright, so that's the iron wall done. I assume I can now take it all back off. And it will still remain as completed, which is good. And yeah, we just need to kill a whole bunch of enemies with some of this equipment that we've made, which is a very good chance for us to also address one thing that I haven't exactly completed. So those research points that I don't have enough of. It turns out that there are a few places here and there with some intel that I haven't actually picked up, so I might need to just figure out where these places are. So 8 out of 8, 6 out of 6, 6 out of 6. Oh, okay, 5 out of 5. I thought there was 1 or 2 places that we haven't been to. Okay, even the Udom has all of the intel locations already hit. Unless it would be the Shoal. The Shoal I've already hit as well. Familius Gap. 9 out of 9. Okay, maybe I've gotten all of the intel. In which case, I kind of need to find a decent place to try out some of these weapons. Yeah, okay, I've already got all of the research, I guess. Speaking of research, I do have 18 points, but I don't really think that that's enough to complete absolutely everything, right? So that requires 2. That's 30, so we don't even have enough to make melange spiced wine. I wonder how else we get more intel points, or is it just from leveling up? It might be from leveling up, to be honest. So what else don't I have? I've got the majority of things. Apart from perhaps maybe a few duraluminum weapons, which I guess we might have a need to get to at some point if the game actually wants us to complete that, so I'm thinking about where I want to fight. Probably fighting Atreides' troops would be a bit painful, considering the weapons do less damage, so we might have to find some easier enemies. I might just go to the Rift and maybe see if I can fight a few enemies there. And yeah, I've been going to the Rift recently a few times, and I've noticed this base here, which looks pretty epic. It kind of looks like a castle. So yeah, very creative indeed. I do quite like what they've got going here. And it does feel quite inspiring, although it doesn't exactly match the sort of brutalist style that we often see in the Dune universe, does it? So it's still a cool base nonetheless, so... and they've got these sort of interesting looking trees. I'm not entirely sure where you get these from, and whether or not like they're like DLC things or what the deal is. Let me just quickly take a look at that. Can I... Yeah, okay, I can't even... Ah, here. Festive tree. Oh, okay, there must have been some kind of a festive event. Anyway. Apologies, guys. I've just forgotten, though, that I need a whole bunch of light darts. So, let me just quickly head back to base, and we'll craft some light darts, and we'll find some enemies to fight. And for each piece of equipment, we're gonna need to kill, I think, 15 enemies, right? So I wanna try to do that quickly. Okay, so some light darts. Actually, before I do light darts, I do want to make some welding wire. Let's say I'll do a stack of 5. And then... Can I actually make the darts from this spot? Yes, I can. So... one batch gives me 30. So I could probably do... I don't know, a decent amount, like 20. And I'll try to keep the light darts this time around, because... I don't remember if my endgame equipment requires some light darts. It might. And if it does, then we may as well have a batch to use immediately. So... And can I just simply recycle the Kirab gear? Because I don't exactly need any of that. Clogging up the inventory. Did I forget to... Yeah, I forgot to put on the gauntlets there. Alright, let's pick up those darts and let's get going. Done. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the disruptor also needs light darts as well. And let's pop that there. So we'll switch between the 3 weapons as we're fighting all of these enemies. Now, while we're in the rift, it might not be a bad idea for us to also collect some of the... I forget the name of the crystal. The ones that produce cobalt for us. I think it's earthite. So we'll see if we can grab some earthite and bring that home as well, because I definitely need a whole bunch. Yeah, it's interesting sort of traveling around these parts and seeing the new bases come up, and that sort of gives me hope for the game, because there are, I guess, some new residences or new players coming into the game, and unfortunately I've been hearing some sad news that the game isn't exactly doing as well as it could be. Perhaps maybe there's not enough to keep some people interested in playing the game long term. And I was sort of thinking about that sort of stuff, but like endgame wise, they haven't exactly introduced too many different events or anything like that in the game, have they? And I mean, there's like a DLC or two, which, sure, I mean, a DLC or two can be interesting, but only if you're willing to, you know, fork up a little bit of money to enjoy that content, but not everyone would be, right? So yeah, these weapons are very weak. Maybe we need to go out to the Vermilius Gap and just play around with some of the really, really weak enemies out there.
to die.
Yeah, it definitely takes quite a lot of hits, so I don't know if this is the best strategy for us. Okay, let's grab crystals. I'm gonna grab some light darts as well when I see them, because, yeah, if I can just maintain a bit of a supply, that would be good, rather than having to keep making more. I'm sure I'm gonna have to make some more at some point, but...
Reveal yourself.
There's someone here. Assassin!
Yeah, okay, we've never played around with the shotgun before, so this is kind of interesting.
Damn! Reload.
So it does offer a little bit of a stun effect there as well, which is quite nice. Yeah, getting the angle there was a little bit difficult. Okay. I think I might change my strategy a little bit here, guys, because I was going to continue in the Haga Rift area, but considering how slow we're killing some of these enemies, I think it might be a better idea for us to go to the Vermilius Gap. I'm just gonna park here and grab a few of the crystals. There are some enemies here as well, so should be able to complete a few more, but I think once we're done here, we'll try to move to the Vermilius Gap. It's been a while since we've been back there. Yeah, this weapon isn't so bad. We could perhaps maybe take out quite a few of these guys relatively quickly with it, but we still need to do some of the other weapons as well, and the disruptor in particular, I'm thinking that might actually be quite difficult to do in this area. Can I please get a better Scan. There we go. Alright, good. There's some more crystals inside the cave, but I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so I might cut here, and I'll see you guys when we get to the Vermilius Gap. Alright, Vermilius Gap. It's been a while. This is Sims Jackpot. And we should have the weakest of the weakest enemies in this area, you would hope. So we should be able to, hopefully, complete this mission, or these missions, a little bit quicker. But perhaps maybe I don't really see too many enemies in this spot. So maybe we need to hit up a few places. Okay, still needing to kill a few more, but it's alright, we'll move on to another location very shortly. Okay, I think we're done here. So let's just quickly figure out the closest spot for more enemies. Maybe just down this way. Alright, I'll focus on using the sword this time.
Found them. I need reinforcements.
One more. There we go. Finally. Alright, let's focus on the disruptor now. Actually, it wants us to do the GRDA first, so we may as well do that. Just that we can track it.
I see. Everybody.
Okay, sounds pretty quiet right now, so we've probably cleared this area out, so let's continue on. Figure out the next best place to visit. Keyhole Rock. Sure, let's go there.
Got you covered.
Now that gave me a bit of a fright. As long as the worm doesn't destroy our ornithopter, obviously. But yeah, let's move on. What the?
Found them.
Kill them all.
They're coming.
Yeah, I'm so used to using the drill shot, thinking that we need to reload every 2 shots, but you can actually get, I think, like 6 shots or something like that off before you need to reload on this one. There we go. Job's done. Do we have any more enemies?
Alert!
I think that might be it. Alright, on to the next. So maybe the scrape or Broken Stone station. Let's do Broken Stone.
Identify yourself.
Definitely horrible at range. Just need a few more kills and we will be done. Oh no. I didn't mean to go into prescience. Yeah, we're not gonna hit that from here, so... At least we're finding a lot of Solari stuff, so... it's not entirely pointless. So there was one more enemy in this area, I think. Can't seem to figure out where he is, though. And he's not coming up on the HUD. Usually the HUD would show where the enemy's hiding when you're in prescience mode, but all good. We may as well move on to another location. Make it easier on ourselves to try and find more enemies. So... yeah, I mean, we may as well get to the scrape. Oh, that's strange. Why do we have the map blocked off? That seems a bit weird. I'm pretty sure we've scanned everything.
Who's there?
Okay, we are done. Which means we don't really need to be hanging out here and killing everyone. Actually, what I might do is just pick up the body, though. Oh, okay, it's a little bit too heavy. We've got too much stuff on us. Not to worry. We can probably just store a whole bunch of stuff. And that should give us the space we need. There we go. One corpse. Ready for the death still. Okay, so I am heading home. So I'll catch you guys when I get back there. Oh my goodness, guys, we just made it with enough fuel. So, firstly, apologies, guys. I meant to complete the scanner quest together with you guys, basically using the handheld scanner to try and find treasures in the open desert. But you know what? I forgot to press the record button. And I thought I was recording when I wasn't. But yeah, unfortunately I have already completed that mission. Look, all things considered, it wasn't really too difficult to do. You just need to go out to open sands where you might encounter sandworms, and you just scan away until you find something buried in the sand. I didn't even need to uncover the treasure to actually complete the mission. So yeah, all things considered, it's maybe not really an exciting mission whatsoever. I'm just going to pop all of our equipment back, which, I mean, for the majority I've already popped back, and I'm just going to recycle a whole bunch of stuff which we have been crafting just for the sake of completing missions, because we definitely don't need any of this stuff. I think that's it. And we should be good to go to proceed with the next mission, which is to donate a Mark 6 cutter ray. So I assume a used one is fine, but I just need to make sure that we're able to make another cutter ray, which we can. What's this going to use though? Because it seems like we can only make 2. So what's the holdup here? It's probably these, the EMF generators. I mean, we'll eventually find some more, I'm pretty sure, but yeah. If we do find those, we better pick those up. Alright, I think we're looking good here. I do want to place the corpse into the death still. And I might just quickly grab all of that, bunch that together. Oh, and I do need some fuel, don't I? I think I should be able to grab that from the chemical refinery as we're passing through. So I've been doing a little bit of spice harvesting recently, but what I'm finding with the spice harvesting is that you do kind of go through fuel quite quickly. Both the crawler itself and the ornithopter consumes so much. Yeah, there we go. So that should hopefully fill up the water deposits a little bit more for us. So just to show you guys where we're at with the last thing that we're going to get for the base, the large refinery. We do need quite a lot more plastanium, so I'm just slaving away to try and get that. Silicon blocks won't really be too much of an issue. I reckon I could easily grab one more batch of the flour and make enough silicon blocks to meet the requirement already. And then there's spice. So spice, I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue either. I might have enough spice sand to actually make spice melange, or enough spice melange to complete that. And then there's cobalt paste. So cobalt paste, I feel like maybe we might need like 2 or 3 runs before I might have enough to actually meet the requirements on that front. So that's where things are at with trying to get the large refinery. So I couldn't get the fuel from the chemical refinery, so I might need to see if it's being deposited somewhere around here. Must be one of these containers. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I might take like a couple of large fuel cells. And that should keep us going for a while. Sorry. Before we continue, let's grab our new cut array. And I'll equip that. And we'll keep the old one to donate. So let's track this mission. And let's get going. I'll probably still have a whole bunch of stuff in here, don't I? Yeah, I've got a little bit of stuff. So might not be a bad idea just to transfer some of this stuff. Okay, we're looking good. So moving on to the trading post, which is... I can't remember which trading post we're going to. Pinnacle Station? I think? Oh no, sorry, it's the Crossroads. Also, I don't really know if there's a continuation to this quest. There could be. In which case, we might reserve that for the next one, if it's going to be a difficult one to complete. But yeah, we'll just see what happens here. There you go. Oh, it says as new. Okay, right. Done. Wow, there goes my initial plan. Yeah, okay. There we go. Brilliant. No more contracts at the moment. Let me have a quick look here. Boosting power. Find an amplifier in a shoal shipwreck. Deliver the amplifier to the Crossroads trade post. Contact the issuer. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of stuff here that we need to complete for the Crossroads, it seems. Yeah. I think we might park that. We'll leave it till next episode, I reckon. But for this one, I think we're ready to head back to base. And I might continue with a bit of building, because there was an idea that I was sort of exploring in my mind about changes to the sides of the building, which I think I do want to try and implement. I feel like it makes sense to be able to just traverse a little bit easier between certain sections of the building. I'm talking about the landing pads on the sides. I think we'll add some staircases and stuff. And I don't think it's going to take too long to achieve, because the idea is pretty straightforward. Alright, so let's get the job done. So, first things first, let's grab the building tool. Let's just get rid of that. We're going to replicate it on the other side as well, but I'm not going to do anything on this side. It's really just going to be this side that gets this treatment, unless Unless we want to make some kind of a connection on this side as well. We might be able to explore that, but yeah, let's just play around with our initial idea. Okay, so the idea is that we add something like that. Okay. I'm sort of thinking about it again. Purely because we've got a window on this side. Maybe it makes sense on the other side and the other side only. Oh, actually, we've got a window on that side as well. Insufficient stability. Really now. What if we added that? Okay. That works. But is this really what we want though? I don't know. Seems a little bit ill-conceived. It doesn't look very nice. Now that I've got it in front of me. Maybe it'll look better once I've got all the other pieces in. But if it doesn't turn out looking good, I can always just demolish everything and not go ahead with what I had initially planned. Is that what I want? What if we go with that instead? Okay, so that's the idea, guys. I think there's some merit to it. Because it does give us a decent pathway to get to the carrier hangar easily without having to, you know, cross into this room and then go all the way down this way. That's just sort of my initial thoughts. I'm trying to convince myself that this is a good idea. You know what? We should take a look at this from a different vantage point. I'll get this side built as well. I think it might help. determine whether or not it's decent. Can I fancy it up a little bit? I don't know how, but... Alright. I didn't end up finding a decent way to try and make it look nicer. Which is another way to say that I'm not sure it looks as good as I hoped initially in my mind. Okay, so I can't build additional structural pillars underneath this one, which is a bit of a shame. So assuming I can't do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, it looks a little bit out of place, doesn't it? Let's just do another flyby. Yeah, how do we feel about this? It's so hard to say, guys. My initial thought is that this may have been a bad idea. In terms of functionality, it seemed okay, but I think ultimately it might not really save us that much time, right? Like if you come up this way, I mean, you can jump straight into the crawler, but no one would really want to do that because the crawler's not really going anywhere without the carrier, so... And then you have to jump in here and then jump down to the carrier. I say we get rid of it. I know I was sort of like playing around with the idea, but... sometimes it takes trial and error to realize these things. But But that has given me the idea, though, of whether or not we should keep railings like this instead of what we have going previously, or what we had going previously. I say maybe no, we still go back to what we had before, because we've got that sort of aesthetic going on this side. I think it makes sense to just simply match it. And as you guys know, I kind of like symmetry here and there. It makes it look like we had a plan, when in reality we didn't really have a plan, did we? We just sort of winged everything. So get rid of all of that. I probably have a whole bunch of plastone in the inventory now. Okay, as long as I've not accidentally destroyed anything down there. Okay. Bit of a waste, but I think we needed to do that exercise to just understand what works best with our current build. And yeah, there was no way I was going to sort of create like an additional bridge on this side. Speaking of bridges, guys, there's one thing that I've forgotten to do while we rebuilt the bridge on this side to make it sort of like a single pathway. Well, I totally forgot to add like these side sections here, which we've got going on this side. So let me just quickly fix that. Okay, that looks good to me. Again, one more flyby, just to make sure. Yeah, I think things look perfect. Got a nice little outdoorsy area on this side, which... Did we do that in the previous episode? I think maybe we did. Just trying to think of anything else we can add to the space. Okay. Maybe. Okay. That looks, I think, a little bit better than what we had before. Can I maybe do something like that, and then I don't know, does that make sense? Possibly. Or because there appears to be like some gaps and stuff, which might not look very nice. I don't know. That almost comes out looking like a wooden pattern, which is... I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Observer floor. That looks interesting. Actually, you know what? We may have destroyed a light source in doing all of this. So, might need to fix that up. I think that looks fine for the moment. And I just want to do a quick flyby again. Yeah, because we've got sort of this pattern going on some of the other landing pads, which, you know, I'm keen to try and replicate. I think it makes sense. So maybe we can just do that there as well. Now we could probably do the same thing here. So it does get like close to the entrance of the building though, doesn't it? Is that what we want? Perhaps. Alright, I'm just looking at the time here, guys. I reckon I'm probably going to be taking a break after this. Let me just get the lighting back in. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Okay. Last thing on the agenda, at least for now, is to fix up lighting. Actually, no, we just managed to do all of that change without affecting the lights in here, which is very lucky on our part. So, and in fact, yes, we've already reached the lighting limit here, so can't exactly do anything on that front. Yeah, good. No need for any fixing right now, but I mean, surely if I've got more brilliant ideas to try and mix up some of the build that we've already currently got, if I end up breaking stuff, then I'm gonna fix things as well, or gonna have to fix things. One thing that I would like to do is to find a new home for all of these turbines out here. Actually, speaking of turbines, some of them have stopped running, which is a bit problematic. So Obviously, we do not want to run out of power anytime soon. So, let me just quickly address this. Okay, I don't actually have enough to power the other one, so I'm gonna need to come back to that. Okay guys, I think this is going to be the episode. I'm sort of thinking about what's going to happen in the next episode, since we are very close to running out of all of our missions, and I am sort of ready for the end game. And also, it is going to be episode 70, so perhaps what we do is we play around with Cutting Edge a little bit. You know, maybe we do one part of the mission, such as, you know, doing all this stuff in Shoal, finding this amplifier, etc, etc. But then we might also do our very first deep desert solo. I'll try and find a place that's not going to be too painful for us to get through. Not that, you know, none of them are painful. I'm pretty sure they're all pretty challenging. But we'll see if we can get through at least one of them, or at least die trying several times before maybe giving up or something like that. So that's the plan. And in terms of base building and decoration, I think that we are almost there, guys. Like, this place is looking really, really good, and I'm very happy with where everything's at. Except for perhaps maybe that one room in the manufacturing tower, which is devoid of any furnishings or anything like that. Let's call it the reception room or ballroom or whatever. So I probably do want to do a little bit of work on that front as well. Anyway, I am rambling on as usual. Thanks for watching. Drop me a like down below. Stay true. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.